All right, everybody, and welcome to this latest edition of the AL East Recap. Today, we're going to be talking about the news surrounding the Boston Red Sox and their interest in Juan Soto, the generational slugger who will be available for all 30 teams this offseason. And Boston's interest is very serious. This is a team that spends a lot of money. They certainly did in the years from 2000 to 2020. After 2020, when Mookie Betts was traded, the team's payroll fell as low as 12th, which is where it has been the last 2 years. And if the Red Sox are serious about this and they have one of the highest offers on the table, they'll most likely be competing with the New York Mets and the New York Yankees in terms of the financial aspect of the deal. But if they do have a high offer, it's a very convincing case, and Juan Soto is certainly looking for a place to spend the next 10 to 15 years, most likely, of his professional baseball career. And what better place than Boston, right? The fan base is great when the team is winning, when they are spending a lot of money, which they haven't been doing recently. That's why they've had all these last place finishes. And at the same time, though, it does seem like things are changing in Boston. They have young players coming up. They've rebuilt the farm system, something that Chaim Bloom tried to do for all those years, but it largely failed at, is now being realized by his predecessor, Craig Breslow. And they have these big four prospects. We have all heard them. Roman Anthony, Kyle Teal, Marcelo Mayer, and Christian Campbell. These are all guys that may make an impact on the 2025 roster or at the latest 2026. They all are at varying levels of AAA. And they're three of the top 100 prospects in Major League Baseball. So there's a strong young core that's coming up through the system that should make Soto very excited about playing around those guys for the duration of those 10 years. And if they are serious about spending money this winter, even if they don't get Soto, it could be someone like an ace pitchers like Corbin Burns or Max Fried. I could see them in on all these pitchers. So it's exciting. Their payroll at last check was $138 million, which is about $50 million shy of where they were last year. And last year, as I said, they were 12th in Major League Baseball. So at 184, they're still almost $60 million under the first threshold, which is going to be $241 million next year, the first luxury tax threshold. So there's plenty of space, plenty of roster space. I know people are talking about how he's a left-handed hitter and they already have so many left-handed hitters. That's a problem for another day. That's one of those shoot first, aim later problems. You bring in a generational player like Juan Soto and you figure out where to put him in the lineup. Plus, this team is probably going to be trading all their other left-handed hitters to make room for Soto and improve the roster. Again, I think, as I mentioned, I think they could be playing at the top end of the free agent starting pitcher market with Fried and Burns, but also, Garrett Crochet or one of the Seattle pitchers. So it's exciting, and Boston's right there. It's a sleeping giant. If they ever wanted to play in this end of the pool, they can. They don't need to be told by anybody. People don't need to tell them. They can just do it whenever they feel like it. They haven't chosen to do it in recent years, and that's why we're having this conversation. But if they are going to get serious about this and focus more resources on the Red Sox, it's all there for them. In terms of the Yankees, it seems like their offer is a little bit lower than the Red Sox. It does seem like to be lower than the Toronto Blue Jays, who Andy Martino of SNY, a noted baseball insider, reporting that Toronto will have the highest bid, that the Blue Jays will be the highest bidder, they will offer the most, which they may have to do because they have a lousy team. So if they do, they're going to be having to spend maybe close to $50 million more than everybody else. The interesting little wrinkle to that is that this is now almost 2 weeks ago when the report came out that the New York Mets were going to top any offer by $50 million. So it seems like the Mets and Blue Jays, if it's really going to come down to money, if that's all that Soto is concerned about, then the Mets and Blue Jays may actually be in for a little tit for tat, where the Blue Jays, again, according to Martino, will have the highest offer. But the Mets are, with Steve Cohen's pockets, prepared to spend $50 million more than whatever the next highest offer is. At the same time, it does you're getting that vibe that he may want to play at Yankee Stadium, that Yankee Stadium maybe fits him more. And he certainly had a great year at Yankee Stadium. So there's that familiarity and comfort. Um, we'll see how this all plays out. But you've got these three teams in the East. The Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Blue Jays. You've got the one team in the NL East, the Mets. The Dodgers are lurking on the outside. The Phillies, I feel like you can never fully roll out. And again, Soto's done a very good job of keeping his intentions quiet. He's remained very quiet throughout this whole process, and that's a credit to him. The reports that you're getting are leaks from either Boris' side of the equation or the Soto side of the equation. Clearly, they know what they want to do, but they've done a very good job in keeping it quiet, so that for the rest of us in the media, from the observation vantage point, all we're left to do is speculate. That's what it is right now. There's a lot of reports out there. Nothing has been confirmed. Nothing is substantiated. And it's just pure speculation. The hope is that this will come to an end, come to a head, hopefully sometime the end of this week, maybe early next week, and we'll have plenty to react to. The thing that I've always wondered is, will we actually ever find out the offers that each of these teams had on the table? I understand that the reporters in baseball do a very good job of getting to the bottom of this and kind of figuring out where everyone's offer was. When you look back at the Yamamoto negotiations last winter, I think we had a pretty good sense that the Mets and the Yankees were prepared to offer him almost $300+ million. But he chose the Dodgers instead because he wanted to play in LA. He wanted to play for what he felt was a better team. So they did a good job of kind of nailing that down. Will they be able to do that, these baseball reporters, now 12 months later? Because I don't know, guys. We may not ever know if the Blue Jays offer was as high as they're claiming it's going to be. Or did the Yankees really cross the $600 million threshold? Were they that gun shy? And is that the reason they lost him to the Mets, of course, who would spend more than that, as Steve Cohen would do, top any offer by $50 million? I don't know if we're going to all know that answer. But hopefully what we will hear from is Soto when this is all over, and we'll kind of get a better sense for what he was looking for throughout this whole process. Was it he wanted to win? Was it he was after more money? Was it he wanted to play with a group of players he was more comfortable with? We'll find that out hopefully in his press conference after this is all over. And hopefully that'll be next week at the winter meetings once this domino has fallen. A lot of other dominoes will fall then as well. And that's why if you're the Red Sox, you're in a great position because you could still capitalize even if you don't land Soto. Like I said, they're in the market for the top-end free agent starting pitchers. They're in the market for other upgrades to a roster and a team that only went 81-81 last year. The definition of mediocre. A team that was hovering around the 500 mark for a good portion of the early season. Guess what? They finished 81-81. And the Blue Jays were a lousy 74-88. The Yankees had the best record in the American League East, but there was a little bit to be desired there. They left a lot to be desired. And the Orioles were a disappointment, especially in the second half. And then the Rays, of course. Hey, the Rays were involved, weren't they? I thought they had at least contacted his camp. Well, he needs to be able to play at George Steinbrenner Field for the Yankees, for Yankee fans to feel good about this whole thing, not as a member of the Tampa Bay Rays on a temporary basis because the roof had been ripped off Tropicana Field. And that's a whole nother show in and of itself. We'll get to that, of course. We'll talk more about the Rays. But today it feels like it's a lot about the Red Sox, what the Red Sox are offering. And they're a serious player. Like I said, they do not need anybody's permission to enter this kind of market. They've been there before. They were there, not that long ago. They've given out contracts before that are big. They won't be as big as this, but they've played in these waters before. And if there's enough willingness and there's enough want to, they'll get it done. They'll get it done. And then they'll just have to see if Soto wants to play the next 10, 15 years of his career hitting those opposite field drives off the Green Monster in Fenway Park. So, Red Sox are definitely actively involved in the Juan Soto bidding. They've submitted an offer it's believed to be higher than the Yankees' offer. The Yankees, Mets, and Blue Jays have apparently issued the three highest offers, and we'll see if now the Yankee camp responds to that, if they kind of up their offer. They've talked about how the payroll is unsustainable, it's at a certain level, so we'll see if they kind of live up to that. So we'll meet with you guys again when we get a little more clarity on this, when there's more reports coming out. And until then, this has been the recap of the American League East and the Boston Red Sox being involved in the Juan Soto sweepstakes.